You ever see your entire life get bulldozed, literally, while your HOA president stands there with a megaphone screaming at your contractors and shredding your dreams right in front of your face? Because let me tell you, if you haven't, you don't know the special flavor of humiliation that tastes like Arizona dust in someone else's power trip. Picture this, papers flying everywhere, my building permits stomped into the mud. Karen, yeah, the queen bee herself shouting, "This death trap will never be built. No kids will drown on my watch," like she was auditioning for the neighborhood's most unhinged lifeguard. Meanwhile, my bulldozer is just sitting there on my driveway, the operator frozen like he's about to be drafted into a suburban war. My name's Garrett. I'm a combat engineer. I'm also a widower, grieving, angry, and clutching onto one promise I made my wife before cancer took her build the damn pool. Not for fun, but for healing. Elena knew what that pool meant. The doctor said swimming might be the only thing to keep my busted back and my nightmares in check, but I'd never do it for myself. She made it her last wish. So after she was gone, I packed up and moved to Willowbrook Estates, this neat little spot outside Phoenix. Spent extra for a corner lot, a view of the park room, to build exactly what Elena wanted. I filed every permit, double-checked every regulation, practically moved my sleeping bag into the county engineering office just to make sure nothing would screw this up. That's when I met her, Priscilla Thornfield, the self-declared HOA overlord. You ever meet someone who treats a neighborhood like their personal fiefdom? Priscilla is 58, drives a white BMW that literally says HOA boss, and she doesn't walk so much as march. I swear I've seen less intimidating parade leaders. She'd been running Willowbrook's HOA for 8 years. Nobody dared run against her anymore. Last 3 challengers flattened with legal threats and fines for grass that was apparently half an inch too long. I wish I was making that up. First day of construction, I'm out back watching my contractor Frank's crew unload the excavator. Smells like diesel and possibility, then comes that click-clack of heels on gravel. "Mr. Steele," she barks, waving her clipboard and that damn megaphone. "We need to discuss your unauthorized construction project." I point at my permits. Still clean, still legal. "County approved," I say. She just sniffs. "The county doesn't understand our standards." Out comes the measuring tape, swinging like a saber. She gets right up in my face. "This pool violates multiple safety regulations. Children could be endangered." Before I know it, she's ripped the permits out of my hand and stomped them into the mud. "This death trap will never be built," she screams, voice echoing off every stucco wall in 3 zip codes. You ever watch your hope disintegrate under someone's shoes? Now here's the thing, most folks, when Priscilla comes for them, they fold. They pay the fines, apologize for breathing, move their barbecue pit 5 inches to the left, and hope she finds a new victim. She'd seen a grieving vet, assumed I'd be easy pickings. But here's what she didn't count on: safety regulations go both ways. If you're going to weaponize child safety to ruin a widower's healing, you better believe I'm coming back with the same playbook. So the war started. She hit me with a $500 daily fine, demanded I halt all construction. I called my attorney. Marcus Webb. Man's got the soul of a pit bull and the patience of a saint. He laughed when I explained the situation. "She's just handed us a harassment lawsuit," he said. "HO. As can't override county-approved safety plans. That's settled law." But Priscilla doesn't just play by the book. She called an emergency HOA meeting. Packed the community center with her little circle of loyalists. You could smell the burnt coffee and fear in the air. She puts up a poster-sized picture of my backyard, points like she's at the Salem witch trials. "Mr. Steele is building an unauthorized swimming pool that threatens our children's safety." I stood up, every marine muscle in my body holding down the urge to shout. Instead, I held up my permits. "These are county approved. And by the way, I submitted these plans to the HOA 8 months ago, request number 2024-156. Never heard back, which by your own rules means it's automatically approved." You could hear the oxygen get sucked out of the room. Priscilla's face turned 3 shades of tomato. She tried to recover. "That request was incomplete." "Nope," I shot back. "I've got the certified mail receipts. You never asked for more documentation." Suddenly, Mrs. Dorothy Clearwater, sweet old lady 2 streets over, actually grinned. Someone was finally standing up to the queen. The tide started to shift. Dorothy knocked on my door the next day with apple pie and a whispered warning. "She's been terrorizing this place for years," she said, cinnamon and truth swirling around us. "People are scared to fight back." Meanwhile, my security cams caught HOA maintenance crews sabotaging properties, sprinkler lines cut landscaping chemicals, dumped potholes popping up overnight. I started documenting everything. Then I noticed something about Priscilla's own property, a deck addition without a permit. A fence 2 inches too tall, paint color straight out of a forbidden rainbow. Webb's advice demands she play by her own rules or face a federal discrimination suit for selective enforcement. Now here's where the plot thickens. Monday morning, 3 county inspector vehicles pull up real government officials, not just HOA cronies. We've received multiple anonymous complaints, says the lead inspector, Ms. Martinez. The complaints are detailed improper, electrical unstable soil drainage problems. She flips through a thick folder. Someone spent real money hiring pros to create a technical case against me. But after 4 hours, the inspectors find nothing, not one violation. Martinez looks up almost apologetic. These complaints came with photographs, but they aren't even from your property. Turns out Priscilla or her minions filed fake evidence from other sites. That's not just HOA harassment, that's criminal. And then came the twist. That evening, Priscilla, with 2 board members in tow, showed up at my door. Jasmine on the breeze, tension thick enough to choke on. She offered a deal, abandon the pool, and they'd make the complaints go away. If I didn't, well, maybe concerned citizens would notice your military disability, PTSD, anger issues. Who knows what that might mean for your permits? Janet Mills, board secretary, said it almost apologetically, not looking at me. That my friends is called federally actionable discrimination. Now, I'd been through worse in Afghanistan, but it still stung. Sitting on my patio that night, staring at the empty dirt where my wife's dream should have been, I realized Priscilla wasn't just after my pool. She was trying to erase everything I had left. But if she wanted a fight, she was about to get one. Her next move: the nuclear option. She called the local news, filed a police report claiming I'd threatened the HOA board, played up my PTSD and military training to make me look unstable. Next morning, the news vans parked outside, cameras rolling as a reporter shoved a microphone in my face. How do you respond to allegations you threatened board members with violence? My hands shook. The report quoted Janet Mills' stupid comments out of context, made me out to be some unhinged vet about to snap. My property, my name, my future dragged through the mud. Even my daughter's summer visitation was threatened after anonymous tips to child services. I nearly broke right there. But then Dorothy came through. She showed up at my back fence with a flash drive security camera footage from the night of the supposed threats. Turns out her grandson manages the rec center. The footage was clear as day, me calmly presenting permits, Priscilla screaming, Janet making her discriminatory slip. No threats, just documentation plus footage of Priscilla and Janet rehearsing their story after the meeting, planning to destroy me. And then the real kicker, Dorothy's grandson also found emails. Priscilla was coordinating with other HOA presidents in Phoenix, sharing nuclear option strategies for getting rid of problem homeowners, filing false police reports, sabotaging reputations. This was organized, not just one unhinged bully. I realized every time Priscilla escalated, she left a trail. Every move documented, every rule bent, now a weapon in my hands. But here's where fate, or maybe Elena's ghost, gave me the ultimate card. While prepping evidence for Webb's lawsuit, I dug through the original plat maps for my property. Turns out my lot was unique, built over a century-old seasonal creek now running underground. That meant riparian rights, legal protection for water management, and environmental restoration exempt from HOA rules. So I brought in a geological survey crew, confirmed the underground waterway, and started the paperwork to turn my pool project into an ecological restoration. Pete Williams, the survey guy, laughed. You could build a moat if you wanted. The state would thank you. Suddenly, my problem pool became an environmental demonstration project. Solar circulation, native plants, a retractable educational bridge for school groups. Academic oversight, EPA grants expedited permits, none of which the HOA could touch. Priscilla, of course, lost her mind. She tried everything, called animal control, the fire department, even staged a protest with the last of her die-hard loyalists. But by then the tide had turned. Neighbors rallied behind me, tired of her abuse. Dorothy became a neighborhood hero, quietly organizing counter-protests and leaking footage of Priscilla's meltdowns to local news. Then just when I thought Priscilla couldn't sink lower, someone sabotaged my project, drained the channels, killed the fish, tried to destroy months of work. But thanks to Dorothy's surveillance, we caught her directing the whole thing with a rented pump truck, caught on 3 cameras, plus her own selfies at 4 a.m., bragging online. Federal crime. She'd finally overplayed her hand. The next day, I submitted everything: videos, emails, permits, environmental reports to the county, the feds, the news. When Priscilla marched onto my property screaming about illegal fortifications, she was met by deputies and news crews. On live TV, as I pulled the lever to raise the medieval-style bridge, water-flowing kids cheering, academic team taking notes. Webb handed her the lawsuit and the arrest warrant. Her reign ended right there. The HOA crumbled, board members resigned, and Priscilla was led away in handcuffs, bathrobe flapping, mascara running, every neighbor watching. Karma doesn't always come fast, but when it does, boy does it put on a show. 6 months later. Elena's memorial garden is lush. The creek restored and my therapeutic pool. Her last wish finally finished, open to every kid and neighbor. The HOA reformed under Dorothy, new bylaws, transparency, and monthly potlucks. Property values shot up. National Geographic did a feature, and Dorothy's granddaughter got a scholarship to study environmental engineering. Here's the real lesson, one I wish I'd learned before. The worst bullies are usually just scared of being exposed. They build walls of rules and fear, but if you document everything, know your rights, and stay patient, they almost always self-destruct. Turns out the best revenge isn't a lawsuit or even a moat. It's living well, healing loudly, and building something that outlasts their hate. So let me ask you this. Where's the line between protecting a community and abusing power? Have you ever seen someone cross it, or maybe been tempted to cross it yourself? Share your stories, HOA nightmares, moments you fought back, or the time karma finally caught up with your local dictator. Drop a comment. Share this with someone who needs hope, and remember, sometimes the quietest neighbor is the one you really need to worry about.
Cảm ơn các bạn đã xem video.